Hello, Seattle Public School students. Thank you so much for joining me today. Our lesson for today is going to be around time management, a very, very important skill to have when you transition on into middle school. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Mr. Gapuz. I'm a fifth grade teacher at Rising Star Elementary in South Seattle. Hey, go Firebirds. I went to Gatewood Elementary, Denny Middle School, and Chief South High School, all schools in the Seattle Public School District. And then I went to the University of Washington and pursued undergrad and grad school there. My favorite class in middle school has to be art. The reason why I say art is because before middle school, actually, I didn't really do any art. I didn't really like to draw, but I had a really awesome art teacher who told me about the importance of art, about how it can express yourself, and it's also a really cool way to engage in some self-care. And lastly, I am a big fan of the Portland Trailblazers basketball team. A little fun fact about me. My favorite player is up there, Damian Lillard. He always goes like this during clutch moments in basketball games. And right now, you're engaging in a clutch moment because you have the opportunity to learn a really awesome skill that's going to prepare you for middle school. So without further ado, let's dive in and get started. All right, students, we got 4 goals today. The first goal is to understand the importance of time management and what that actually is. You're going to reflect on what your day-to-day priorities look like. What are the most important things that you need to do in your 24-hour day? You're going to learn some new strategies for managing your time, and then you're going to reflect on the importance of time management and really, think about what you learned in this lesson and why it's important to you. You will need just 2 things in this lesson. One, you're going to need your student reflection journal. So if you have a composition book or any type of journal you've been taking notes in during this summer bridge program, you can utilize that. If you don't have anything like that, you can use a Word document or maybe even a Google Doc, OneNote, whatever online resource you want to use to type and write down your reflections, or you can just get a piece of paper and write it down there. It's so important to reflect so you know what you covered during this lesson today. And last thing, an open mind. Some of these strategies might not be for you. Some of them might be for you after you've really tried them out. So definitely keep an open mind. Definitely do your best on these strategies. Let's go ahead and get started. Students, the question that we're going to really be thinking about today is, why is time management important? Why is it important to manage my time well? Why is it important to use my time efficiently and effectively? And there are a lot of different reasons that you're going to come up with by the end of this lesson. There's some reasons that I'll tell you as well. But I wanted to, focus in on this question using a scenario. Now, I reached out to one of my old students way back when, and she told me about a specific scenario that focused in on this theme of time management. And I'm really excited to share this with you. So she's in middle school now. She's actually about to be in the 7th or 8th grade, actually. And here is the scenario. It's a Monday afternoon, and school is over in 2 weeks. So end of school year, almost done. Earlier today, your language arts teacher told you that your final writing project is due on Friday. Your math teacher also told you that you have a math quiz on Friday and that it's on a topic you're not so familiar with. You also have to help with planning the end of year assembly that takes place on Friday afternoon with the student leadership team. So there's 3 things that she had to do, or that you have to do in this instance. You have to prepare for a math quiz, you need to work on your final writing project, and you need to plan that end of year assembly so that it can be successful on Friday, right? But here's a catch. Flash forward to Thursday, the day before Friday. You studied for your math quiz. You're almost done planning for your end of year assembly, but you forgot about your writing project. You were able to do 2 out of the 3 things, and they're all due tomorrow. They're all due the next day because, let's say, hypothetically, today is Thursday. Now, I want you to do something really quick, students. I want you to pause this video after I ask this question and have a conversation with yourself. How do you think you're feeling right now when you have all these things that you did, but you missed out on one of them? Go ahead and pause the video and think how you felt. Thank you so much for having that conversation. Now, there are a lot of potential answers here, right? Maybe you're feeling super stressed because you worked so hard on the 2 other things and you realize, oh my goodness, I forgot about that last thing. You might be thinking, You might be feeling a little disappointed because you worked so hard throughout the week, but then you realized, oh no, I messed up on something, or I missed something. You might be feeling like, oh man, this is too tough. There's so much that I have to do. I feel like I'm going to give up. Now, these are three very common responses, and maybe you might be feeling a different way, and that's okay too. But after having this conversation with the student, I asked my former student, what do you think you could have done better? And there's one thing that she said, and that really resonated with me, and I think will resonate with you, especially by the end of this lesson, is she said that I needed to manage my time well starting on that Monday. So she realized that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe even Friday morning, so about 4.5 days, she had time to work on these projects. She said she was able to do that math quiz and really study for that. She was able to prioritize also the end of year assembly, but she realized that there were a lot of things that she was doing that could have taken the place of a writing project, whether that be texting and being on the phone with friends, which took up a lot of her time, playing games on her Nintendo Switch or whatever it was, and a lot of different things that weren't necessarily academic that could have been geared towards that writing project. Now, luckily, she was able to complete that writing project the day before, but she was feeling very stressed, she didn't get a lot of sleep that night. I do remember her telling me that. But I think what's important to really understand is what are the different strategies that you can engage in throughout the week to prevent that from happening, from letting something slip, to making sure that your priorities are where they need to be. Students, I have another guiding question for you. The question is, what do your top priorities look like on a day-to-day basis? Another way that we can phrase this is, what do you value as being the most important things to do in your day? Now, I do want to acknowledge a couple of things. Here in the Seattle Public School District, we have students coming from all different walks of life, who speak different languages, are from different cultures. So your priority list is going to maybe look a lot different from someone that's in your classroom. It might look different from someone on the different side of the city. It might look different from someone in your neighborhood, and that's okay. What I did is I reached out to about 20 to 25 middle schoolers, and I checked in with them and got some common responses from them about what they think their priorities are. Now, this isn't 100% representative of our whole district, but I wanted to just give you some examples. These students said, typically, on a typical day, on a typical school day, their priorities were helping a family member out with something, could be cooking, helping out with the groceries, getting their homework done, and then sleeping for a good amount of time so that they felt ready the next morning. I also asked them, because it was going to look different, what did their priorities look like on the weekend? And they said doing an activity that brings them joy. So playing a game, going outside, spending time with siblings and friends, whether that be online, on a video game, or even in person outside. They also recognize that still, even on the weekend, helping a family member out with something was something that they felt was very important to them. And then another thing that popped up was sleep. I do want to acknowledge that some students, I didn't put it on this list, but some students also recognize that making sure that they had a healthy meal to eat every single day was something good, that supporting their siblings and helping their siblings who could range from someone that's older to them or someone that is very young, that was something that was on their priority list as well. And it could potentially be, one of these things on this list could be on your priority list as well. But what I would like for you to do, class, is I would like for you to pause this video and answer this question in your journal. Reflect upon this question. What are your priorities on a typical day? See if you can come up with a list of at least 3. Okay, go and pause this video and write that down. All right, students. First off, I am now in this small little corner. I did not disappear, I promise. So some very useful strategies that I want you to be thinking about as you transition on into middle school. I asked some current middle school students and some actual current middle school teachers about what strategies they thought were pretty good for middle schoolers. So First thing was a calendar planner, a really awesome visual to help you write down the dates of important events, assignments, and other things. It could be students' birthdays, it could be project deadlines, essay deadlines, homework assignments, important assemblies that go on. You can write this all down in your planner, whether that be an online planner or a physical journal planner, to really help you keep track of things. It's also an awesome way to use a checklist as well. Another strategy was to ask a trusted adult or friend for help on a task that you think could be more efficient. I say this with one caveat, be conscious and cognizant and aware of how much you're asking for help. If there are things that you're asking for help on that you could have done pretty quickly and efficiently, that might be a little suspicious. Make sure to do the things that you feel like you could do quickly and efficiently on your own. And if there are things that you think could benefit, a task that you think could benefit you and someone else, hey, ask for that support. If you're not sure about something in class, ask your teacher. If you're not sure about a deadline, a project, who you're working with on the project, please make sure you check in with your teacher, because you don't want to, pull up on Friday with that assignment being due and you forgot about it. So make sure that you ask your teacher just in case. And lastly, some teachers and also a lot of students said, if you have any priorities on your list that are academic and school related, get those done as soon as you can before you do other things. A lot of students regretted that they played too much video games and they forgot about their assignments to the point where their grades weren't so good. So playing games could be something that is on your priority list, sure, but making sure you get that academic stuff done as well. Also, I will give you a fraction of a penny if you can guess what any of these controllers and what game systems they belong to. If you are not able to answer that question to any of these things, I am officially old, okay? So these are just some useful strategies to think about. What I'd like for you to do is see if any of these strategies might work for you. Is there one that you could focus in on when you actually even today? Is there one that you can work on during summer school? Is there one that you can work on that you can think that you can do right at the beginning of next school year? Do notice that some of these strategies might not work for you, or some of these strategies might not be in your favor. It's really awesome. Really awesome thing to do is check in with a trusted adult, a family member, and see, what are some time management strategies that might work for you. Class, in this lesson, you were able to identify some priorities that you have on a day-to-day basis. You also were able to explore some new strategies that you could try to manage your time well, especially as you transition to middle school. Now, a very important part of our lesson, the final part of our lesson, is the independent work. I have one awesome assignment that I want to assign to you that's going to be on Schoology, so make sure that you download it and use it and do it. And then some reflection questions I want you to answer in your reflection journal. There's also going to be a discussion post with a question on there that I'd like for you to answer, and then you could also see the responses of other people and see how they felt about time management as well. So the first thing I want you to do is this assignment. It's called a time diary. So a time diary is a worksheet that you can work on to help you document what you do throughout the day, whatever you feel comfortable enough to document. Now, the first thing you're going to do in this time diary is actually you're going to write down your top 3 priorities of the day. Then you're going to determine when exactly are you going to document. Is it going to be in the morning? Is it going to be all the way up until you fall asleep at night? Is it only going to be half the day or part of the day? It's totally up to you. But make sure that your priorities can fall within the time that you documented it in. So for example, if one of your priorities is to do your homework, but you only do your homework towards the end of the night, you probably should only document that part where you're going to do your homework, not sometime in the morning when you're not going to do it. So make sure your priorities align with the times that you're doing your time diary. After you do your time diary, there are 3 questions that I want you to reflect upon in your journal. And those questions are, how much time did you spend doing the tasks on your priority list? Was it more or less than other things that weren't on your list? Who can support you in managing your time well? And why is it important to manage your time? These 3 questions will really help you out in determining what support systems you have when it comes to doing time management, especially as it pertains to middle school, and the focus point of this lesson of the importance of managing your time efficiently, effectively, so that you can go into middle school as successful and ready as possible. But yes, thank you so much, class, for joining me in this lesson today. Do the time diary, think about priorities, have conversations with your family about ways in which you can be more efficient in using your time. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate y'all being here. Have a good one. Bye, y'all.